Hi, everyone. Just keeping people waiting, Celeste.
Yes, that's right. I'm sure everyone was waiting for us.
Anxiously waiting. You can tell by all the viewers in the stream. So obviously, off the back of everything that's happening, JobKeeper's come out, bit of an update. People wanted to know more, Celeste, so we put together a bit of a slideshow. So, and we just want to have a quick chat and a bit of a run over JobKeeper 2.0 and what's happening. So, Clayton Wood from Business Edge Accountants and Celeste. Same?
Yeah, hi Celeste. Yeah, I work alongside at Business Edge, and yeah, great.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're not sure about us, look up a bit more and get in contact and let's have a discussion. Now, today we're just going to quickly run over what's new for COVID in regards to stimulus. You know, what about this legislation? What's new for JobKeeper? What's changed? And more than anything, Celeste, I think it's super important that we talk about the next steps because there's going to be a lot of people unsure on what they're going to do in regards to JobKeeper 2.0, whether they're eligible, ineligible, or just what to do now and what to do next. I think that's going to be really important to touch on. So moving on.
Yeah, and on that, it really helps with the overwhelm for business owners as well. If we can just give you a couple of tips on what the next steps for you are, it's just going to give you that clarity to keep moving forward.
Definitely. So the government's just released the job trainer packages, which was, I think it was $2 billion. So they're going to give hundreds of thousands of dollars to different training organisations to just upskill Australia. So $1 billion where the job training program should create like 300,000 job training places. So that'll be really great for businesses. So hopefully a lot of school leavers and job seekers will be able to get more qualifications to upskill themselves. Then the government announced the new Sme Guarantee Scheme. So they originally, when coronavirus came out, they had a bunch of guarantees around different loans for people. And now they've adjusted that and changed it. And just they've changed it up enough to help small business owners especially. So if you weren't eligible before, you might be eligible now. So depending on where your business is in regards to that is where you probably should be sitting and talking to your mortgage broker and discussing your options. And then they released on the 21st of July JobKeeper 2.0 last week. And then they've extended the super out on the July the 23rd. So they've extended the release of super. So people are getting the $10,000 out of their super. They've extended that to the 31st of December. While it's probably not the best idea for a lot of people to get their money out of super, for some people it's a necessity to get by. And I've talked to a few people, and if you're on the fence around getting that 10 grand out, you really should be looking into it because it could have not just a massive impact on you and your super, but also your risk of being audited. If you're not eligible, it's like a $12,000 fine, Celeste.
It's just astronomical. And, you know, if you're already struggling and needed that money just to, get through the next 6 months, and then you're slapped with a fine, it's just, you go in a really bad position where you've got to try and, work your way through it.
Yep. And I think that's just important to assess your position on how much you need it. If you do need it, then go and get it. Talk to a financial advisor, bring up your super fund, go through that process. Moving on, so obviously this is a quick discussion around JobKeeper that everyone's really interested in. The legislation, it's not legislated. What does that mean? It means it's not law. That the government isn't even sitting in Parliament, but nothing's been passed. So it's just announcements. They're announcing it early. If you remember when COVID took over, everyone was like, oh, what's going on? Everything was changing so fast. There's a lot to keep up with. This time they're putting out the information early so that people can have those discussions, and maybe more than likely they'll make some changes. I'm sure the government will make some changes. They like to make changes, so...
and it's a great opportunity to work out what it is, see how it affects you, and talk to your professional services about it so that, their voice can be heard and passed up to the government of, if certain aspects do work and certain aspects don't.
Yeah, totally. And raise those concerns with your professionals or your local members to push that up. So
yeah.
Now the next part, JobKeeper 2.0. This is what you come for. The basic rules are very similar to the current ones. So, you know, the 30% decline for most businesses. If you're a $2 billion business, well, it's 50%. You probably should have someone all over it anyway. The non-for-profits was 15%. So everyone should be aware of where you're at right now with the JobKeeper rules. If you're not sure if you do qualify, contact your accountant, Celeste. Like, it's so important not miss out.
Yeah, because you know that main reason is that if you don't qualify for JobKeeper in the form it is right now, well, you're not also going to be able to qualify for JobKeeper 2.0. So, yeah,
definitely. And you can also qualify for JobKeeper from July, August, and September. So you've got to keep checking whether you're qualifying, because we're still checking current clients to see if they qualify now, and we're ringing them up and saying, you're qualifying for JobKeeper, let's get you on it. And then at the same time, we're, you know, helping them get themselves enrolled and get that ball rolling to start that JobKeeper to help their business, because in the current environment on the border, it's super important to get onto that.
Yeah, for sure.
And the payments for JobKeeper 2.0 will be in arrears, the same as it is now. So right now, you pay your employees every fortnight, and then at the start of the month, on the 1st, you organise your monthly declaration, fill it in on the portal, and submit it. I make it sound easy, Celeste.
You do. So easy, Clayton.
Might not be that easy.
Yeah.
The tests are looking like they're going to be the same in regards to 2.0 as they were before, comparing 2019 figures to 2020 figures for your decline. But there's some additional tests to qualify for JobKeeper 2.0. And for the next phase, to qualify beyond September, you'll need to have a 30% downturn in the June quarter BAS, and then also the September quarter BAS. So then obviously the one after that, if you want to qualify again in January, post-Christmas, then you still need to have that 30% downturn in December. Again, remember, this is not legislated. This might change. So we encourage everyone to, the first quick check you can do today is to go, well, did I have a 30% decline in the last quarter? And if you didn't, well, then you're already probably kind of aware that you're not going to qualify for JobKeeper 2.0. If you did, then it's probably a good indication that you need to be on top of it and be aware.
Absolutely, because then that's going to go into your planning. You can plan now if you know that you're not going to qualify for any further JobKeeper assistance if you didn't qualify in that first quarter, if it comes out as legislation. So you can start planning as to what you're going to do.
Yeah. And then with the next step, Celeste, the JobKeeper changed. So right now everyone's getting $1,500 a fortnight per employee. So you pay them $1,500, and then the government gives you $1,500 back per fortnight at the end of the month. So $3,000 per month for JobKeeper. The next phase, it's going to go down to $1,200 for actively engaged, and then $750 for everyone else. And then in the next phase after that, post-Christmas, it goes down to $1,000 and $650. Now, everyone's going actively engaged. What does that mean? At the moment, it means if you've worked 20 hours or more on average for the month of February. So for your employees, you'll have to go back and check your payroll and work out their averages, especially if they were casuals or part-time. You really need to assess whether they were doing more than 20 hours a week. If they're doing more than 20 hours a week on average, boom, they're actively engaged. They get the top level JobKeeper. If they're not, they'll get the $650 per fortnight. So bear that in mind, where everybody was up in arms about some casual that was earning $100 a week. Now suddenly they're getting $750 with JobKeeper 1. But now they've said, well, those people will come back to that $750 a fortnight.
Yeah.
Now, onto this bit. So if you're Albury Northside Chamber member, you might have got the email yesterday, and we just wanted to touch on this around the border closure and that study, and, you know, really highlight to everyone that 90% of businesses have been affected by the border closures less. Like, you know, a lot of people didn't agree with it, but 47 did agree with it. So there's still a mixed message and position out there with a lot of people. We think it's really important to be aware of you're in this similar. A lot of people are in a similar position to other businesses. Cash reserves are running out. Productivity, morale's all low with the team. Some businesses, especially tourism and accommodation and hospitality, have just been wiped out. And we understand that, and that's why we wanted to do the live, is because a lot of people need to know this JobKeeper information just to get through to the other side.
Yeah, and one of the key points that survey picked up that ANCC did is that there's such a high percentage of businesses that are relying on the JobKeeper to survive. So if you're doing your checks and balances now, checking last quarter, monitoring this quarter to make sure that you're qualified for the following quarter, obviously all in a legal way, well, you can have that peace of mind that you've got that there, when it gets released via legislation. But if you're not going to, you can start planning now what you're going to do. You might have to ask those really hard questions about your business.
Do I keep the doors open?
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of businesses close. Like if you go down Dean Street, you'll see there's a lot of empty business shops there now. Some people I've seen they move back to Wodonga, if they were from Wodonga or Albury, like they're moving home and doing things a bit different. So it comes back to that business recovery plan, and I'll touch on it again. If you're wondering what that business recovery plan can do for you, look at something like the AFL. Every time something's happening, the AFL is pivoting and adjusting to that adjustment. While they were based in Victoria, suddenly things moved. They moved to New South Wales, then New South Wales, they moved to Queensland. Like each time things are changing, the AFL implements their plan and they move. And that's what you've got to do in business. And right now, you've got to make that decision. Am I going to keep going and having that stress? Am I going to see the light at the end of the tunnel? Hopefully you can. Hopefully the JobKeeper will get you through. As a part of that JobKeeper process, make sure your books are up to date. So at the end of this quarter, accountants are not going to have long to get you into JobKeeper 2.0. You have to do an assessment and you have to get it registered and you have to get it in very, very quickly. So it's so important to keep those books up to date. If you are using something like Xero, that's just the benefit of it, isn't it, Celeste?
Oh, totally. And, I've come across numerous business owners that made the change late last year, and they're so thankful that they did go to cloud accounting software late last year because it's enabled them to have a clear vision of their business and meet all the requirements for JobKeeper.
Making decisions on real-time data.
Yeah, and it's not too late to change.
No, it's never too late to change, and it'll be a change for the better for you and your business, no doubt. This one is from Xero's Insights. So it's just an interesting graph to represent the position of where everyone's at. So sole traders make up most of the businesses within Australia, as you can see by this beautiful graph here. And local businesses like you and I, small to micro make up a very large portion of the employers and the businesses that keep the economy going. I just thought that was a wonderful graph from Xero that I'd like to share, just so you're aware. Like people are wondering, how is it impacting? It impacts millions and millions of people. So that's why I wanted to share it. This one I loved. This is another one from the Xero Small Business Insights, and I forget what it's called now, but they put it out yesterday. It was very interesting. So if you read on, it says how many people thought that once COVID-19 had passed, it would just return to normal. It's an amazing stat here at 45%. 45% of people just thought, assuming everything will largely return to normal, everything will pass and it'll all be fine. COVID is not going to be fine. It's not normal. There's over 700 cases reported in Victoria today. Like, relying on gut instincts and, what's going on in the market, just thinking it's going to turn around, it's probably not. Unfortunately, it's going to have to be realistic. People are going to have to think about plan D and E and say, well, what if there is an outbreak across the border, in Wodonga, Corowa? What's the next stage that they're going to bring the lockdown? What am I going to do in my business to prepare for that? So don't assume everything's going to go back to normal. Have various options in your business to pivot and have a part of that recovery process. So I think, it's 700 new cases today in Victoria. That's pretty alarming, but it's also got to be a bit of an alarm bell to business owners to say, well, what am I going to do if this happens?
Yeah.
And while we know not everyone wants to think about it, you got to plan for possibly the worst case. Like it's nice to think that it's all just going to turn to normal, the border's going to open, it's all going to be fine. But I'm sorry, Victoria's cases just keep skyrocketing. I'm not planning for that. I'm organising the team to be able to work remotely. I'm organising to take computers home, printers home, whatever it is we need to do to make business happen. Plan for it.
Yeah.
Question, Celeste. We did have a question today. So the question was around.
You've got it in front of you, haven't you, Clayton?
I've got the questions. Yes, I've got a few questions. So the long service leave. So a lot of business owners around the JobKeeper, we're talking about long service leave or annual leave. So part of the JobKeeper allowed you to use up some annual leave for team members down to a couple of weeks. And then someone asked about long service leave. So long service leave can be used to fill up the JobKeeper, but I don't think you can force the team member to take long service leave. At the end of the day, I would seek a HR specialist before you engage to try and do that, or talk to your professionals to make sure that you're doing it right in regards to your business. Now, personally, I think it's all about the team as well, Celeste.
Yeah, like where do you want to take that team? Do you want that team there at the end of COVID with you? Because, they're your number one asset and resource, or your asset really in your business. They're the ones that help you succeed in your goals. So, you need to uphold them in that way as well and respect that and, work with them, work together through this.
Yeah. And look, at the end of the day, if you need to use up annual leave to make it through to the end and make sure that the team and everyone has a job at the end of it, then that's something you should be discussing with the team to make sure that everyone's on board. But I think you've got to get that group team on board with all your business decisions. They don't get to say in all the business decisions, but making sure that everyone's happy and on the bus, we're all heading in the same direction is super important. Also brings up the dismissal questions. So a lot of people have asked about dismissing team members that are on JobKeeper. And I think it's important to note that if your team members are on JobKeeper and not wanting to work, I really, again, would seek a HR professional to take through that process so that you get it right and that, it doesn't come back on you. Because if the team member is dismissed and terminated, the JobKeeper is no longer. They do need to be an employee. And if they don't want to be an employee and they leave on their own terms, then same deal, JobKeeper's gone. So they do need to be, a team member. And then on top of that, they have to have been actively engaged to get JobKeeper 2. So it's important to make sure that you're getting those distinctions and talking to your professionals, engage a HR specialist, and take the right steps, Celeste.
Yeah, absolutely, Clayton. I think you're going to lose me in a second. I'm sorry.
Running out of battery. So next steps, yeah. I think the key is to check the last quarter for 30% decline. Get your books up to date. So right now, just keep working month to month, end of the quarter, books are up to date. And I think engage your professionals. Talk to your accountant, help make it happen. Talk to your bookkeeper, talk to your lawyers, HR specialists. Just talk to and engage the professionals to get the right information. If you're not a client and you want to know more, book in for a proactive accounting session. And you can have a discussion around what's happening in your business and how we can help. If you're a current client and you're not sure or you've got questions, as always, that's a part of us. You ring, you call, you talk, and you get answers, and we don't charge you an arm and a leg. We don't charge by the minute. So as our clients know, we just want you to ring and have the answers at your availability. And that's it, Celeste. I'm finished.
Awesome. Very good. Yeah, so hopefully everyone's a bit clearer on JobKeeper now and got some real good pointers and a bit more comfort, got some actions that they can now undertake.
And by all means, share, tag your friends if they're not sure. But I think overall, JobKeeper 2.0, take those next steps and we'll look forward to seeing you in the future.
Yeah, update you when legislation comes out.
Yeah. See you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.